let's go. Welcome to New Orleans and welcome to America's Game of the Week. It is week number 11 around the National Football League, and here's your matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints. Well, a big game here in week 11 for both sides. For Philadelphia, the defending Super Bowl champions, they need a win. They're in the NFC East, which appears to be absolutely wide open, but they're under 500. For the Saints, they've won 8 straight. They've got a great receiver in Michael Thomas. They've got 2 terrific running backs in Kamara and then Mark Ingram. And then they've got a quarterback that's headed for Canton, Ohio, and playing at 39 years old, arguably his best football ever. And if that's the case, and this is an offense that makes it look awfully easy at times, how do the Eagles, who need to win here today, get it done?
Well, I think Jim Schwartz has been asking himself that all week long, and ideally you would like to be able to run the football on offense and then minimize the possessions for Drew Brees, but that's harder to do than you can imagine. So I think the burden really comes down to this defense and how are they going to be able to get pressure on Drew Brees. He hasn't been sacked very often, so that's going to be a real challenge for them. They're depleted in the secondary, and expect Jim Schwartz to do some things that he really hasn't done a lot of this year, and that is really challenging these receivers, trying to be aggressive with them. But it's going to be a tall task this afternoon.
For more on Jim Schwartz and the Eagles, down to the field, and Erin Andrews.
Yeah, Jim Schwartz telling us what makes this thing even more difficult is that Drew Brees hasn't met a completion this year that he hasn't liked. And you guys talking about this depleted secondary, a lot of this today is going to fall on the defensive line. I was speaking with tackle Fletcher Cox about it, and he said that's the plan. All week they knew how injured this secondary was, but he said we look at our group, how experienced we are, how much depth we have. We know it's on this defensive line to try to stop the run. And oh, by the way, slow down a red-hot Drew Brees, Joe.
Yeah, not so easy, and there are plenty of defensive coordinators that can tell you that. Well, what we just had while the three of us were talking at you, the Saints won the toss. They deferred. The Eagles get the ball, and evidently they started to line up on the wrong side of the field. So they all just switched. Everybody had a nice laugh. And the Saints will kick off from our right to our left. And waiting back deep is Corey Clement, who is taken over as the kick returner. They've had plenty. DeAndre Carter was doing it and doing it well. He was released. He's with the Texans now, and so Clement gets a chance to show what he can do here to start the day. Glad you're with us. Off we go. Clement brings it out. Flags fly. Clement down the sideline, out of bounds, just past the 30, but Will Lutz is there to force him out. It looked like there might be 2 different fouls on the play, and we'll find out from Carl Sheffers here in a moment.
During the return, holding number 37. Return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So they get Trey Sullivan, and that will cost the Eagles field position. And we'll see where they put the ball down to start the day for Carson Wentz. You watch all that film, Troy Aikman. How would you evaluate year number 3 for Carson Wentz?
Well, it's been a bit inconsistent, to be honest with you, Joe. He's completing over 70% of his passes. I know in that game on Sunday night, I was a little surprised with some of the inaccurate throws that he made. But a tough comeback coming off of that injury from last year.
They start at the 15, and they hand to Josh Adams, who has taken over as the top running back. In the wake of the injury to Jay Ajayi, Sproles is not active yet again. He's played in only 1 game and a loss of 1 to start the day. The 22nd ranked rush attack. And you look at that offensive line, and there are the backs and receivers, 2nd and 11. Pass is tipped and off the right hand of Golden Tate. P.J. Williams was back there defending. Tate was wide open, and Williams with that right hand avoided a big completion from Carson Wentz.
That was a nice job by Williams getting underneath that throw. TJ Williams, he is going to be assigned the task of trying to cover Zach Ertz for a good part of this ball game. They're going to look at Ertz as more of a wide receiver, which he certainly is. He's their leading receiver. He's as good as they get.
Now 3rd down and 11. Trying to set up a screen. Adams with blocking in front. Adams looks like he is just short of 1st down yardage. Vaughn Bell out there to make the tackle. And it's 4th down. A gain of 10 on 3rd down and 11. And here's the catch and run by Adams, the rookie from Notre Dame.
Yeah, just not quite enough. And so a good job there defensively by the New Orleans Saints to open up this game. We talked about it just moments ago about trying to control the clock, the time of possession, and yet the Saints are able to get off the field right away.
Cameron Johnston's had a really good year. Hits a knuckleball, and on the return, Taysom Hill out to the 41. And DJ Alexander downfield to make the stop. So for Philadelphia, more of the same. They've really struggled early. There's a flag down on the punt back inside the 30, and the Saints get the best case scenario.
During the kick, holding, number 59, receiving team, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
So the Saints win the toss. They defer. A 3-and-out by Philadelphia, and here is Drew Brees after the foul called on Vince Beagle, and that'll mark the ball back inside the 30, inside the 25, and they'll put it down at the 23.
When you saw Taysom Hill with the return, and he stays out on the field. So certainly Saints fans are well aware of him. Virtually all football fans are, and how much he plays. But here he is on the very first snap, and he's in the ball game.
Mike 5-3. Ready. Purple. Blue 80. What's that?
Handoff is to Ingram. Breaks out into Philly territory to start the day, and Corey Graham brings him down after a carry of 38.
And you see they go with the jet motion, man coverage by the Eagles. There's an opportunity right there to make a play, and that's something that plagued this defense last year. Sidney Jones, who's back after missing the last 3 games, unable to make the tackle. They had the right defense called. They had a defender in the hole and unable to make the tackle.
From the 39, Brees going to put it up. Finds a wide open tight end, Josh Hill, and he dropped it. Well, the numbers are big for the New Orleans Saints. They're the number 5 ranked offense. They've got the number 1 ranked quarterback. They've got Jermon Bushrod now back at left tackle with an injury to Teron Armstead. And they're as good as it gets with a number 1 receiver, Michael Thomas, and a combo of Ingram and Kamara in the backfield.
I think you look at this offense and all the things that are important, all the categories to winning football games. I think we're watching the number 1 offense in the league.
Kamara on 2nd down and 10. Picks up 7, where Fletcher Cox downfield made the stop, and we'll see what the Eagles can do defensively here on 3rd and 3. Number 7 against the rush, and that number's been getting worse as the season has gone on. There are the linebackers, and the secondary is banged up. They're without 3 starters: Darby, McLeod, and Mills.
Yes. 58, 24, 58, 24.
Just got it away on 3rd down and 3. Brees fires, pass, caught, 1st down. Keith Kirkwood, who was activated last week. They're thin at the wide receiver position, and Kirkwood good for 4.
Well, one of the change-ups by Jim Schwartz is you're going to see a lot of 3-man rushes in this game. They're going to try to drop 8. Help out this secondary and coverage. Sidney Jones is the one who's locked up and unable to make a play. But, you know, Schwartz, as we talked about, he's an awfully good defensive coordinator, but even as good as he is, he has his limits with some of the things he's working with.
Hand off to Ingram on first down, and a nice gain as Trayvon Hester made the stop, a gain of 5. And here are the injuries. Only Malcolm Jenkins is left from the group that started the season. McLeod on IR. Darby just went on IR. You see the shuffling as the weeks have gone forward. And now they've got Sidney Jones, second-year pro, out of Washington, starting at one outside spot. Rasul Douglas at the other. And Avonte Maddox either at a safety spot or slot corner. Taysom Hill gets the snap. Back to the line of scrimmage, maybe half a yard. Third down coming again.
This Taysom Hill, I know every broadcast team talks about what he does, but it is pretty remarkable that when he runs with the football, he's not a quarterback. He certainly can play quarterback, and Sean Payton says he feels like he's got Steve Young in the building, but when you watch him run, he runs more like Zach Line than he does as a quarterback. He's a bowling ball type guy. He does not slide. He takes on defenders, and he's had some injuries in his past. I just wonder how long he'll hold up.
They're down and 4. Breeze with protection. Pass is caught, but a good tackle is made by the former St. Malcolm Jenkins on Dan Arnold, the tight end. It's 4th down. And for now, the offense stays out there. What a good tackle here by Jenkins.
That's a great job by Malcolm Jenkins. He's been, really one of the guys they've been able to rely on this year. He's been a good football player for a long time. Originally the 14th overall pick back in 2009 by the New Orleans Saints.
38-yard try here by Will Lutz, who's made 17 straight. In a row. And the Saints strike first. And on the first play of that possession, a season-long 38-yard run by Mark Ingram. 3-0 New Orleans. Malcolm Jenkins was, as Troy said, a first-round pick by the Saints in 2009. That year ended well with the Lombardi Trophy and a win in Super Bowl 44. Now he's with the Eagles and made a big stop on a third down tackle of the tight end Dan Arnold. And a minor victory when you hold the Saints to a field goal instead of a touchdown to start the day.
Well, no doubt. And this defense for the Eagles, they've been good in that area defensively throughout the season. They're 4th in the NFL in red zone, and that's going to be vital in this game. So, yeah, the Saints, they put together a nice drive, but they got bogged down there, and we're having to settle for a field goal, and Jim Schwartz will take that all day.
Lutz will kick it away. His first kickoff was returned. This one is as well. Clement with a lane. Good return out near the 44. Big return by Corey Clement of 48 yards, and a good start here to this possession for Philly.
It's a great return, setting this Eagles offense up with great field position, some key blocks, makes a man miss, and that's good work by Corey Clement.
Starting from their own 45, down by 3. After a season-long kick return of 48 by Clement for Philadelphia. Wentz, protection breaks down, and Wentz bothered as he threw it. Heavy pressure on the play by Cam Jordan, who's the leader up front for this Saints defense. See where they are overall, 23rd. They're number 1 against the run. They are second to last against the pass. There are the linebackers as Anzalone is taken over in the middle from Manti Te'o, who's not even active for this game in the secondary. Handoff. Instead, it's Wentz on a keeper. as the attention went to Clement, and Wentz goes around the left end, picks up 6 and makes it a more manageable third down, 3rd and 4.
They'll try to keep him honest, and that's Trey Hendrickson who made the play. And talk about being active and inactive. He was inactive for about 6 weeks, but then they lost their first-round pick, Marcus Davenport. He's now been out for the last 3 ball games with a toe injury, and it's allowed Hendrickson to get off the bench and get some playing time.
3rd down and 4. Pressure on Wentz, steps through it. Pass is incomplete from Matthews, and he's looking for a flag, doesn't get it. Eli Apple, the former Giant, they're defending for the Saints.
That was good coverage there, but it was the pressure by Anzalone, who you talked about just a moment ago, and who's gotten a lot of playing time here in recent weeks. He's a very athletic guy. He's had a heck of a run here over the last 3 games with a sack, a forced fumble, and has just been all over the place. But he was the one who got the pressure then on Wentz and disrupted the play.
Another knuckling punt, and on the return, it's Kamara, and they're going to blow it dead back inside the 15. 36-yard punt, and nothing on the return as the play was stopped. And we'll take a break. Get another look at that punt return by Kamara. The big center, Jason Kelce, getting looked at on the sideline. 3-0 New Orleans. Here's why they blew that punt return dead with this kind of half-hearted Mike Pereira fair catch signal by Kamara.
Half-hearted, but he did get it up over his helmet and waved it to the side. They shut it down. You don't penalize for the advance, you just shut it down.
So from the 14, the handoff is to Ingram, and he is bottled up. And a good play made by middle linebacker Jordan Hicks. We saw them looking at Jason Kelce on the sideline. Aaron, what's going on with him?
Yeah, he's over on the table, Joe. They're actually looking like they're trying to pop his elbow back into place. As you can imagine, he's in a lot of pain. Now they're looking to see if he can put a brace on it. No word yet from the Eagles, though, his status.
Well, he's a leader. He's the anchor of that offensive line. He's making his 67th consecutive start, beloved in Philadelphia, and they need him. 2nd down and 9. Breeze throws, pass incomplete. With Keith Kirkwood the target. Looked like he and Avonte Maddox got their feet tangled. That'll bring up 3rd down and 9.
Well, Avonte Maddox, who had been a corner, and then he started playing some safety, and he's going to be all over the place as well in this game. And true to what Jim Schwartz had told us the other day, Joe, they're going to challenge these receivers. They're not going to just sit back and let Drew Brees carve them up.
Good protection underneath. That's Kirkwood again. That's 3 times Brees has thrown toward Kirkwood. He's got 2 catches and 2 first downs.
Well, they got soft there, and they played coverage with it being 3rd and a little bit longer. And, you know, Brees with no pressure, he's been accustomed to that throughout this season, has hardly been touched in these games, and he just comes right underneath to Kirkwood, who they really like. In fact, he was a guy who they thought a lot of in camp, and they weren't sure they were going to be able to get him through and get him on the practice squad, but they were able to do that.
Here's a screen for the tight end. Hill gets to the sideline. A little leap by Josh Hill. And Jenkins over there for the stop. A catch and run of 16 yards. When you talk about protection for Drew Brees, he's only been sacked 9 times, fewest in the NFL. The ball comes out so fast, and he hasn't been sacked over his last 3 games.
And so then you try to bring the blitz, and he gets the ball out, and then you're shorthanded in coverage. It really puts a defense in a quandary. And, you know, Michael Thomas is the guy, their go-to guy, and he has yet to catch a pass. They spread the ball around to Hill and Kirkwood and Arnold here in the early going.
Hand off to Kamara, not much, got a yard. Well played up front, Brandon Graham, who has slowly but surely been coming on as a pass rusher again. Had a big year last year, 9.5 sacks, the big strip sack of Brady in the Super Bowl. Then had ankle surgery, and it's just now starting to get back into form for number 55.
Well, and I thought he came off a really nice game on Sunday night. You can see these guys are getting tired, and that's, how is Jim Schwartz going to be able to rotate this defensive front to keep them fresh?
Brees throws, pass, caught. There's Thomas. Out of bounds near the 29. He came in tied for the league lead with 78 catches. That's number 79.
They're going to cheat the safety a little bit towards him and try to help out to some degree, but one-on-one, and that's just a matchup against Sidney Jones that Drew Brees is going to take all day long. He is such a big target. He's not the fastest guy, but he's violent off the line of scrimmage. You can put the ball just about anywhere, and this guy can go make a play, and that's just great execution.
He's up to 980 yards receiving on the season. That one for 30.
Hey, Packer right to 58. Packer right, 58. No, Packer right, tail.
Trying to move the chess pieces around, and the play clock was down to 1. Brees took the timeout. So will we. 4:39 left. First quarter, first down for the Saints when we come back. Welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, downtown New Orleans. Sounded like there was a lot of fun going on the streets last night. Didn't partake, went to bed early in preparation for the game. First down.
Boy.
No deserting. From the 28 on first down, Brees. End zone, incomplete with Taysom Hill and Josh Hill. They call that Hill to the end zone. If your name's Hill, just go. Incomplete.
Oh, this is about as bad as it gets for Drew Brees. He's got Josh Hill down the middle. He's got either one, really, and the ball lands between the two of them. I'm not really sure exactly who he was trying to get the ball to. When you're completing 77% of your passes, the way that Brees is, he doesn't miss the mark like that, especially on a big play when he's got someone open down the field. But it was a missed opportunity for the Saints.
Right, 58. Ready. Waiting.
Low snap, 2nd and 10. Brees fires, passes, caught. Kirkwood again sets up 1st and goal. So you worry about Michael Thomas, Kamara coming out of the backfield, Watson. Don't forget about 18 now.
They just continue to have weapons that Brees feels good about. In fact, Brees was one of the guys who kept lobbying for Kirkwood to come off the practice squad and get active, and that's not good. You talk about Kelsey. Anytime you lose your center, that is not a good day.
Here's Kamara down inside the 5. Nada with the tackle, a gain of 6. Saints signed Brandon Marshall, not active for this game, but another big target that will be fed into this offensive machine. 6'5", 232, and a guy with just under 1,000 receptions in his career. Not ready yet, but soon will be. 2nd and goal.
5-8. Ready. Ready. Blue 80. What's that?
Brees, end zone, incomplete for Traquan Smith. Now Maddox is injured on the play.
Oh boy.
Avonte Maddox, the rookie 4th-round pick from Pitt, grabbing at his knee. And we'll be right back after this from Verizon. Well, an awkward landing by Avonte Maddox as you look at his right knee in the back of the end zone. He really played well. Had a good camp. Worked his way onto the roster. Started as a slot corner, moved to safety, back to slot. And an ugly landing on that boundary. They just put Ronald Darby on IR with a torn ACL. Jalen Mills still out with the foot. And Maddox can't hardly put any weight on that leg.
You just wonder how much thinner can this secondary get, and it does not look like he'll be coming back into this ball game. And now you go to the next man, and they're starting to run out of bodies.
We've got Corey Graham, Trace Sullivan, Chandon Sullivan, and Cravon LeBlanc, who they just picked up at the beginning of November, the guy who was waived by the Lions. Third down and goal here, and with all that going on, Jim Schwartz is trying to figure out a way to get another stop. Quick throw, pass is caught in the end zone for the touchdown. Austin Carr. And the first of the year for the second-year pro from Northwestern.
Well, Austin Carr, he's really good inside, and his ability to create separation as an inside receiver, and just the confidence and trust that Breeze has in all of these players is on display here in this first quarter.
Ten to nothing Saints. They've won 8 straight, and they know how to get out of the gate fast. First of the year for Carr. For Breeze, number 22. 10-zip, New Orleans. Stefan Wisniewski is going to step in at center for Jason Kelsey, who has missed only 2 offensive snaps this year. And is the anchor at the heart of that offensive line. The Eagles about to get the ball back for the 3rd time in this first quarter. A quarter that has been not good with regard to scoring points. We'll get into that in a moment. Clement had that 48-yard return the last time. Now he takes a knee. And it's a different story from 2017, to be sure. Through the first 9 games last season, that's the total time trailing in games. 64 minutes coming into this one in New Orleans, over 239 minutes. And when you go 7 of 9 games with no points in the opening quarter, you're going to find yourselves behind on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and this was the game that if they were going to be able to score points, they needed them here, because you just cannot expect this Eagles defense to hold down the Saints, and the Eagles are going to have to match that.
Wentz in trouble and sacked, but a flag comes in the secondary. Demario Davis was in there, but a flag came flying in. And the indication is hold.
Holding, number 26, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's P.J. Williams on Zach Ertz, and that's what we were talking about, the assignment that he draws, and he gets called for the hold. He's the most penalized guy on this defense, and there's Stefan Wisniewski. He's right off the bench. They bring a 6-man pressure, Dennis Allen does, and last week in that win against Cincinnati, he brought a lot of pressure, much more than he had brought in other games this year. But they get the hold and a new set of downs.
Play action from Wentz, going to air it out downfield. Aguilar underthrown in an interception by Lattimore. And that play had no chance. And this is a group celebration about as big as you're ever going to see. And last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year, Marshawn Lattimore, gets his first of the season.
You're going to see the defense here. Middle safety, he drops on Alshon Jeffrey, and that allows Marshawn Lattimore then to go play deep middle, and there was never a chance on this ball. Lattimore, he read it the entire way. He knows that once Alshon Jeffrey crosses the field, he's able to drop into coverage deep. And I don't know if Wentz just didn't pick him up, but there was never a chance that they were going to complete that pass down the middle of the field.
4th interception of the season for Carson Wentz. And a takeaway by this Saints defense. That's their 7th interception. their 11th takeaway overall. A lot of teams just don't throw to Lattimore's side, and as you said, he got a chance to peel off and go make a play. And after having 5, as you see, as a rookie to lead all NFL rookies, he's got his first, and there's frustration for Wentz.
Well, what happens, Joe, is when he drops back and he sees the middle safety, Marcus Williams, I believe it was, that he jumps Alshon Jeffrey, and that's what you're looking for. You think, okay, I got the deep post then over the top, but nothing then on the backside to hold Lattimore, and he just plays it beautifully and gets back there and makes a play on the ball. It was basically thrown into double coverage. Talked about it, Joe. The points have been hard to come by for this Eagles team in the early going, and they constantly find themselves playing from a deficit, and that makes it hard on everybody. Offensive line, defense. Then, last year they used to be able to make teams one-dimensional, much like the Saints are doing this year, and they let that front four just tee off. Not this year.
Handoff to Kamara. And on first down, Alvin Kamara has a 16-yard carry.
Oh, such great vision in the hole. You see the patience that he has and just being able to dance his way around the defenders and then hit it. He has been awfully fun to watch. And I know that once Mark Ingram came back from his 4-game suspension, they've divvied the carries up pretty evenly amongst the two of them. Ingram coming along as well here after last week's game, but as a receiving threat, obviously Kamara is the guy.
Breeze floats it. Smith off his hands. That last carry by Kamara went for 16. The Eagles have 15 yards of offense over 3 possessions so far. On Saturday, buckle up. One of the fiercest rivalries in all of sports. Number 4 Michigan, number 10 Ohio State. Battle for a spot in the Big Ten Championship. Coverage begins Saturday at 11 Eastern on Fox, or watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app.
Your boys from Indiana gave them a run for their money yesterday, the Wolverines, and both those teams were in dogfights. The Buckeyes win a close one, and it's going to be a lot of fun next week to watch that one.
Still trying to get over the hump in those big games. Fletcher Cox came across.
Number 9, offense.
And he was drawn off
5-yard penalty
as they charged Drew Brees with too much of a head bob or shoulders or whatever. And that flex.
Yeah, with the hands there, they started watching that a little closer towards the end of my career. Used to, you could almost have a convulsion, and they wouldn't call it. Hey, Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, we touched on them a moment ago, but I thought last week with the secondary as depleted as they were, they almost, that front four last week almost single-handedly kept them in that game.
Second down and 15 over the middle. Pass is caught. Diving grab by Arnold, the tight end. Another guy you don't think of coming to the stadium, and Dan Arnold made a beautiful grab for a 23-yard catch. You'll see that he secured it going to the ground.
It looked like he did, and he had a great release off the line of scrimmage against Nigel Bradham. Here's a better look at it. I think that's a catch, and boy, everyone got an opportunity on Sunday against the Bengals, and he had a couple catches in that game, and now he's already matched it here today.
Ready. We're waiting. What's that?
On first down, Traquan Smith. And good enough to make the tackle. After the completion is Rasul Douglas, a gain of 6.
Well, what we're seeing here, Joe, is not good, quite honestly, if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, because we talked about it coming in, and Jim Schwartz is relying on this defensive front, and they're going to try to challenge these receivers, and there are a lot of open bodies for Drew Brees, and this game could get away from the Eagles here real quick if they're not careful.
Now Taysom Hill in at quarterback with Brees at the bottom. He gets it, he keeps it. He's tackled about 2 yards short of a first down by Malcolm Jenkins. There aren't many times that Taysom Hill hands it off. He likes to keep it and run.
And then he looks for somebody to run over. I mean, he just does not go to the ground. That'd be a bit of a concern of mine if I was Sean Payton, but he doesn't seem to be too bothered by it.
10-0 after 1. Back after this from your local Fox station. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Down below, they've been having a lot of fun inside this dome in New Orleans for a long time, since Drew Brees and Sean Payton showed up here in 2006.
I think if somebody had told defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz for the Eagles that they would hold Michael Thomas to 1 reception in the first quarter, he would be pretty happy with that. But Drew Brees still threw for 114 yards there in the first period, and he spread the ball around to a lot of other people.
They're down and 2. Pass is bobbled and caught for the first down by Smith. Into his gut, able to grab it. A gain of 9, and Brees has been perfect completing passes on 3rd down.
Yeah, they've been able to keep the chains moving. Tre'Quan Smith does a good job. I like what Sean Payton did there with Drew Brees. Obviously not a guy who's going to threaten you running the football, but move the pocket a little bit, change the launch point. Don't let these big guys up front for the Eagles just know exactly where he's going to be stationed every time. And they buy him some time on the edge, and he finds Smith for the first down.
Waiting.
Kamara cuts back. Alvin Kamara gets 3. Michael Bennett with the tackle. This combination, this duo since 2017, they lead the NFL in scrimmage yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, and they have hit their stride again. You mentioned the 4-game suspension for Mark Ingram. Had his first 100-yard rushing game last week at Cincinnati, and he said that's the best he's felt. That's bad news for the rest of the NFC.
Yeah, no kidding. And his best years have come here in the last 2 years. 1,000-yard seasons, each of those seasons. Of course, Alvin Kamara and that 2-headed monster, that's only gotten them better.
2nd and 7. Pass is caught. Smith again. Sidney Jones defending for Philadelphia. Jones, the corner, getting a chance to start on the outside for the first time. He was a playmaker at Washington, thought he might be a high 1st-round pick, tore his Achilles on his pro day, slipped to the 2nd round, and now getting a chance to start on the outside, and now checking out of this game on 1st down. 11 first downs for the Saints already.
Ready. Waiting. What's that?
Little toss to Kamara, running right. Tackles made by Corey Graham, but not before Kamara picks up 7 and another first down.
Well, Michael Thomas, we know what he does as a receiver, but watch what he's able to do here in the run game, too. I always like seeing these great receivers that are able to mix it up and involve themselves and be unselfish in that role, and puts his body in there. And of course, they've got Ryan Ramczyk in his sophomore season, and what a pickup he was last year as a bit of an insurance policy there at right tackle, and he was called upon early and had a great rookie season. He's continued to play well this year.
A first down carry, they gave him 8. Now a first down by Ingram. How about a touchdown? And they continue to make it look easy here in New Orleans. Third rushing touchdown of the year for Mark Ingram.
You see the effect this motion has on all these defensive defenders, and all they start moving around, and then you got angles, and that's all you're looking for. You got Taysom Hill again, number 7. He's out there blocking, doing it all, and it creates the edge and gives them a chance to make the block and get in for the touchdown.
At times it looks like they're playing a different game, at least on a different level on offense, and the Saints up 17. Dominant start for the Saints, leading 17-0. Look at the difference in yards. as the Eagles' first quarter woes continue here in New Orleans. Just the 15 yards in the first quarter, and their only first down came on a penalty.
Well, last week they went 9 for 9 on their first 9 possessions offensively, scoring points. They're 3 for 3 here today. They're on a record pace, scoring on over 60% of their offensive possessions in the history of the game. What they are doing is really, it's never been touched before. And last week against Cincinnati, and again here today to start this game. Pretty incredible.
These offensive players, they know that Sean Payton is up late at night devising new ways to use what he has on offense. It's all wheeling around Drew Brees. And we've seen some injuries in this first half for Philadelphia. Here's Erin Andrews.
News not good for this Eagles depleted secondary. We saw Sidney Jones leave the game. Here's why. You see kind of twist his ankle. No word on him yet. That's Avonte Maddox. He is done for the day with a knee. This is Sidney Jones. No word from the Eagles about him. And finally for the offense, center Jason Kelce, guys, he is also done for the day with a wrist injury.
Wow. So they've lost Maddox and Kelce. Sidney Jones looks like he's moving around okay on the sideline. Remains to be seen. Do the Eagles have an answer? Here's Alshon Jeffrey for a first down.
You know, I watched Carson Wentz. I talked about some of the accuracy issues, and this is an example of it. He comes out, he's got a guy wide open, and these guys are having to go to the ground and make plays on the ball, and I was really surprised by it watching it. It never really had jumped out at me when I watched him play in the past, and I asked Doug Peterson about it. He said if there was one knock of him coming out of college, that was it. But these guys have made some unbelievable catches. He's completing over 70%, but maybe something that simple. We've seen Drew Brees hit guys in stride, and Wentz needs to start getting a little better in that area.
Handoff is to Adams. He gets maybe a yard. First guy there was P.J. Williams. You know, the early years by Drew Brees were spent in San Diego. And if you look at the numbers comparing these two quarterbacks through their first 36 career games, Wentz obviously off to a much better start, but the career for Drew Brees has taken off after being hooked up with Sean Payton since 2006. The numbers, the career numbers, off the charts. Blitz. Eagles pick it up. Wentz throws and the pass is caught, but a flag is down. Jordan Matthews on the reception in a 14-yard gain.
Well, they do a good job picking this up. Like you said, Joe, we'll sort through this penalty and see whether or not this play is going to count, but they block it up and
Offside, number 91, defense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, first down.
They get Hendrickson for an offside, so the completion of 14 yards to Matthews stands. The Eagles averaging just 22 points per game, 21st in the league. Third last year when they ended up winning it all at just under 29 a game. Play action. Wentz steps up, has his man, Golden Tate. Third catch as an Eagle, first of this game, and a gain of 15.
Well, in that game on Sunday against the Cowboys Sunday night, they obviously had a limited package for Golden Tate. He's another week into the system, and those are the kinds of things that he does so well. He transitions awfully well in and out of breaks, and Zach Ertz not really known for his blocking, but he put Okafor on his back there.
Wendell Smallwood in motion. First down. Ertz has yet to be targeted by Wentz. Pass is caught. Down to the 29 is Tate. Well, the matchup on Thanksgiving is better every time we look at it. Redskins lost today. Cowboys won in Atlanta. This NFC East is still wide open, and that includes Philadelphia. They have 2 games left with the Redskins. Dallas lost at Washington. They host the Redskins on Thanksgiving late afternoon.
Yeah, it'll be a chance to see who can come out of that ball game leading the NFC East.
2nd down and 4. Handoff is to Adams. Josh Adams for the touchdown. Exactly what Philadelphia needed. And a 28-yard touchdown run by the rookie Adams. He's got his first NFL touchdown.
Well, the blocks here and here by the 2 guards are what really spring him to the end zone. Seumalo, the left guard, and then Brandon Brooks, the right guard. They make key blocks there in the middle. It's a good job of Josh Adams reading the blocks and getting it in the end zone.
And Carson Wentz went 4 for 4 on the drive, and the Eagles are on the scoreboard. Question is, can they get a defensive stop? They like Josh Adams. Why not? He's given them a ground game, and now a 10-point game. Back in the day, SI on its cover called him the ultimate weapon. And Ray Randall Cunningham on America's Game of the Week as we continue from New Orleans. That gets Ed Svita, our Boots statistician, a little teary-eyed. Philadelphia's own. That scoring drive got him teary-eyed. As the Eagles get on the board, now down by 10, and Drew Brees will start at the 25. That's the good news for Philly. Now it remains to be seen whether they can get a stop of Drew Brees in this machine that's happening for the Saints on offense.
No, but that slowed some of the bleeding. I mean, they were in desperate need of doing something offensively, so good answer by Carson Wentz and that offensive unit, and being able to cut this back to a 10-point deficit. And you're right, this is the challenge for Jim Schwartz. And as we've seen, they keep getting thinner in the ranks with the guys that have gone down here in the secondary for the last few weeks and then again today.
Vontae Maddox is out. Sidney Jones back in there. Pass is high and a rare miss by Drew Brees. And that was Taysom Hill, so it wasn't even Drew Brees. So it was Hill getting a chance at quarterback. Brees was lined up to the outside, and you look down and you go, well, how can Drew Brees miss Traquan Smith by that much?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't.
He didn't. That's right. He was trying. Taysom Hill was trying to take a shot down the field. That was only his 5th pass attempt on the season. He had a 44-yard completion a few weeks back against Minnesota. They thought they could take another shot down the field, and then he's got the open receiver and just didn't reload and get set and make an accurate throw.
And up to Kamara. Good play by Jenkins. He's made a couple of strong tackles already in this first half. No gain. And after the incompletion by Taysom Hill, this tackle by Jenkins, it's 3rd and 10.
Now, Malcolm Jenkins is a guy that when you watch the Eagles play on defense, he always shows up. He's such a great competitor. He's always around the football. And as I said earlier, he's been one of the real constants for this unit. And now, because of the miss then by Hill and a good defensive stop, we'll see if they can get off the field on 3rd down.
Saints 4 for 5 on 3rd down. Brees incomplete. Target was Hill, the tight end, with Nigel Bradham there defending. So they roll the dice a little bit, let Taysom Hill throw it, and they end up having the punt.
Yeah, they go with the 3-man rush once again. So you drop 8 then into coverage and then try to play the chains. We saw Jim Schwartz try that Sunday night. It didn't go so well with the so-called picket fence. This time they played too deep, a little bit more conventional in their soft zone defense, and they are able to get off the field.
We have a rare sighting. Thomas Morstead with a punt. And as you saw that graphic, the fewest through 9 games in the Super Bowl era. That was only punt number 20. But the Eagles get it right back. down 10. Jenkins right in the middle of it for Philly, and the defense for the Eagles gets a 62-second 3-and-out. And only the 10th 3-and-out for the Saints this year. From the 25. Extra offensive lineman Vaitai in there. Play action from Wentz. Pass is caught. Adams coming off that touchdown, lowers his shoulder, and they're going to give him 11. Kurt Coleman got the brunt of that blast by Josh Adams. He's on the practice squad the first 2 weeks. Has worked his way up. Eagles lost Jay Ajayi in week 5 in that game against the Vikings. Darren Sproles only active for 1 game. They need somebody, and Adams has been that somebody.
Well, heck, Josh Adams was a Heisman Trophy candidate at one time at Notre Dame. So he was a talented guy, had a foot issue in college that carried over into the draft, and that's why he went undrafted.
Here he is. Hits the Jets and crosses the 40. Adams, as a freshman at Notre Dame, had 835 rush yards. And then his last year had over 1,400 yards, and now he limps back toward the huddle after that 5-yard carry.
Well, he's a big body at 6'2" and 225 pounds, and so for a guy his size, he runs pretty well. As long as that foot's not bothered, he's got deceptive speed, and obviously, as you mentioned, he's been awfully productive for them the last few games.
Hand off here, and Adams has got another first down. It was doctors at the combine that found the break in his foot, and that took him from potential Heisman candidate before that all the way down to undrafted out of college. And Doug Peterson, Howie Roseman in the front office, they may have found a good one here in Adams.
Yeah, I think the front office has done a good job. Last year, of course, has been well documented. And then even this year, when you go out and you put it on the line and you bring in Golden Tate and just finding a talented guy and talking him in, Josh Adams, into signing with the Eagles and then being able to utilize him with some of the injuries at that position.
Here's Clement to midfield. Gain of 3, Anzalone, who's made one big play each of the last 3 weeks, is in there to make the stop. We were here a couple of weeks ago when he made that leaping, lunging interception against the Rams.
Well, and he started the first 4 games of last year before going on IR, and he kind of got lost. They talk about that 2017 draft by Mickey Loomis and Jeff Ireland, and they don't talk a lot about him because he was hurt.
He's coming on a blitz here, and Clement makes the catch. A good throw as Carson Wentz was looking at number 47. Right in his face. Gain of 4 on that catch, and they rewrap the left ankle and foot of Adams on the sideline. 3rd and 3.
Well, Wentz is starting to heat up a little bit here. He's 6 of 6 on his last 6 throws, and we'll see if he's able to make it 7 for 7 and keep this drive alive.
That's since the interception by Lattimore. 6 for 6. And now timeout was taken by Philadelphia prior to the snap. So they'll get to talk about a 3rd and 3. Each side with 2 timeouts left. First half, big 3rd down when we come back. Defensive coordinator Dennis Allen trying to come up with something on 3rd down and 3. Eagles inside New Orleans territory. Down by 10. Ertz has yet to be targeted. Number 3 in the league in catches. Wentz sacked. And the play made by Sheldon Rankins. Sack number 6 on the year and his 5th over the last 6 games.
Now, Sheldon Rankins is slowly developing into a really elite defensive lineman. You see the move that he's able to put on Wisniewski there in the middle, and he has no chance whatsoever. But had he have had time, he had Ertz. And Ertz was able to beat the coverage by P.J. Williams, but Rankins, he saves that one.
Johnston, a punt flag as Johnston ended up on his back. And it depends whether it's running into or roughing, and it's just the 5-yard variety, so this will not carry with it a first down for Philadelphia. It was 4th and 13. It's a 5-yard penalty running into and not roughing. And let's take a look.
Running into the kicker, number 31, defense, 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
So they'll replay 4th down. If it's obviously Mike Pereira roughing, that would have been a first down. Looked like the right call.
It really was, Joe. You look to see how bad the contact is, if it's flagrant, and then is it kicking leg, is it plant leg? It's up high. So to me, this is just basically a clear running into.
It's Chris Banjo, who was former Green Bay Packer, special teams player for the Saints. And it's caught by Kamara after a 35-yard punt. The Saints get it up by 10. We'll be right back after this from Geico. First down and 10 for the Saints, starting at their own 16. Touchdowns for Sean Payton's crew. One thrown by Drew Brees to Austin Carr for his first of the year. The touchdown, a carry by Mark Ingram. And then Brees found Austin Carr. Carr became the 64th different touchdown target for Brees over his 510 career touchdown passes. He's number 2 alone all time.
Luady, what's that?
Hand off to Ingram, fighting his way, and a gain of 8.
You look at this offense, Joe, and the Saints, the way that they are able to run the football. And I guess Alvin Kamara has had a big part to do with that coming in last year. But like I talked about, Mark Ingram 2 years ago, he had a 1,000-yard season himself. But when this team was really good and when they went to the Super Bowl, they ran the football very well. And then they went through a stretch there of about 7 years where they were predominantly a passing team, and the last 2 years they've gotten back to running the football. It's what Sean Payton believes in. It's what he's wanted to do. It's taken pressure off of Drew Brees, obviously, although he's still clearly a focal point of this offense. But we've seen the results of what that running game's meant to them.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
You think with regard to this offense for the Saints, they're just slinging it all over the place. And when we talked to Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, he said, well, Peyton's got Bill Parcells in one ear saying you have to keep running the ball. And this is a Saints offense, Troy, that came in throwing it only 54% of the time. That's the 3rd lowest percentage in the league.
Well, they run the ball on average 30 times a game, which is the 2nd most in the NFL.
Here's Brees, pass is caught. Traquan Smith breaking tackles out to the 41. A catch and run of 22 yards. And that brings this game to the 2-minute warning with the Saints up 10. One of the country's best World War II museums is located here in New Orleans, home to a completely restored PT-305 boat that saw action in World War II. The USS Sutton Jerk took almost 7 years to complete its restoration. Over 200+ volunteers put in over 100,000 man-hours to complete the task. We're on the other side of the 2-minute warning, 1:58 left, 2 timeouts. Drew Brees and the Saints up 10. Far sideline, pass is caught. Michael Thomas has got his 2nd catch. somehow that pass got to Michael Thomas, and it's good for 30.
Well, they got the rookie Chandon Sullivan, who's covering the all-pro wide receiver and just never sees the ball whatsoever. They're trying to cheat the safety over to give a little bit of help, but it's just, I was wondering when Breeze was going to try to target Thomas on some of those throws.
Chris Long makes that tackle on Kamara. Michael Thomas has just 2 catches, but each for 30 yards. And the clock continues to wind. Under a minute and a half to go after that 5-yard carry by Kamara.
And this is big right here, considering the fact that the New Orleans Saints, they get the ball to start the second half. Well, they can run this thing down and then get it coming out once again.
Breeze, protection, end zone, Carr overthrown. Carr is one of those little targets and a guy that obviously is very quick. He was waived by New England last year, and New Orleans picked him up.
Well, Drew Brees knew they were coming back to this route at some point, because when there was the 2-minute warning, Brees was talking to Carr during that time and explaining to him how he wanted him to try to take the middle of the field. You could see it with the gestures and what he was saying to him, and sure enough, they come back to it and just unable to give him enough of an angle to drive the ball in.
Now 3rd down and 5, big 3rd down, pass caught, Traquan Smith, 1st down at the 15. A gain of 9, and the Saints hurry it up, but a timeout is taken. Taken by the Saints. They have 1 remaining, and let's find out what's coming up at the half.
Hey, coming up on the Visa halftime, Detroit beats the Panthers, and I ain't lying. Get it, lion? Is this on? Joe Troy, help? The Visa halftime is next.
That was Aikman booing in the background.
Come on, Richards, you're better than that.
Bill Richards and the crew coming up with anything and everything they can think of here in Week 11. Well, there's a lot to talk about for those guys at the half. A lot of interesting scores, and then a terrible injury for Alex Smith of the Redskins. Breeze, end zone, pass is caught. Touchdown! And a flag for the hit. Traquan Smith somehow hung on to the football.
That's really a gutsy catch here by Traquan Smith. He knows where that safety is, and he knows he's going to take a hit at the end of it, and yet he still goes in and is able to make a play on the ball. And I thought it was actually a pretty good job by Corey Graham. He grazed him a little bit with his forearm, but for the most part, I thought it was shoulder-to-shoulder pad.
For an illegal hit on a defenseless player. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
About him being still a defenseless player. He does not have the ability to ward off the defender, so you can't use a forearm to the head, even though that is mostly shoulder to shoulder. You know, I can see how they called it, but it is not really a very strong call.
But it's a strong catch by Traquan Smith. That's his 3rd, and he shows his toughness here in Week 11. That rookie can play.
They're all playing today, Joe. Drew Brees has done a remarkable job of spreading the ball around. Typically, it's just Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara that are getting most of the balls. Today, it's been complete opposite.
Smith with 6 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. He came in with only 12 catches this season. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, what a difference a year makes. This season on the left, last season on the right. They're in danger of dropping to 2 games under 500, but again, the division is still up for grabs in the NFC East. You see the difference in the turnover differential, the early points, heck, the points overall, a big difference from last season. And this is a 17-point game with 39 seconds left in the half.
The Eagles, you think about their season, Joe, of course, a tough loss at home. They had a chance on Sunday night against Dallas to not knock them out, but deliver a pretty good blow within that division in a home game on prime time and unable to find a way to win, and that put them behind everything. They just have not been able to get on any kind of run. They've yet to be able to put together back-to-back wins.
Little pop-up kick from the 50 after the penalty, and that is well done. Made Clement field it, and a flag flies on the return. Well done by Lutz to just put that up into the air. Force Clement to take it. We'll see where this ball ends up after the foul. Morstead.
There are multiple fouls on the return team. Holding, number 39. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, illegal double team block. Number 82, that penalty is accepted. Half the distance, first down.
That was Morstead who popped that kick up. Lutz is in there when they're booming it deep, and Morstead, who's been seldom used as the punter, hit it down to the goal line. And then the foul on Richard Rodgers, who was just activated to the roster, and that moves the ball back inside the 10 and forces, well, not going to make a guess as to what Philadelphia wants to do with 35 seconds left. Do they try to go downfield? 2 timeouts. From the end zone, pass is caught. That's Ertz, his first target, his first catch. They get a little breathing room with Anzalone out there after a 7-yard completion. See the NFC playoff picture with the Rams. They have the big Monday night game coming up now at home against Kansas City. The Saints cruising in the South. The Bears, they play Minnesota later tonight. The Redskins lead the East, but they lost their top quarterback, Alex Smith, in their loss today to Houston.
Colt McCoy, he'll be making the start on Thanksgiving afternoon, and like I said earlier, that's a big game within the East. The Redskins beat the Cowboys earlier in the season, but a chance for the Cowboys to climb back into it with a win, and each team come out at 6-5.
Wentz is hit from behind. Okafor was there. Jordan was in there early. And with third down coming up, a timeout is taken by the Saints. And they're out of timeouts.
Well, they're all coming here. I mean, there's so much pressure here on Carson Wentz. He has no chance at all. I mean, there's 3 guys back there he's trying to navigate, and we saw this last week on Sunday for the Saints against the Bengals when Marcus Williams comes up with a big interception right before the half. 8 seconds left on the clock, and Breeze finds a receiver for a touchdown. So don't discount how big this down is right now in keeping the Saints from coming away with potentially even more points.
They're out of timeouts, the Saints. You got to run the ball here and just run out the clock. They do with Wendell Smallwood. And it's 4th down, but the clock will wind down to halftime as Onyemata made the tackle.
Yeah, now the Saints will get the ball to start the second half, and so the Eagles started to climb back into it, started to do some good things, and momentum went back to New Orleans.
And for New Orleans, a 321-yard first half and a 17-point lead. Halftime, the Visa halftime coming up on the other side after this from your local Fox station. That was today's Game Flow, brought to you by Progressive. sun is setting. Beautiful picture. As we play on from New Orleans, second half is coming up, and the Saints about to get the ball right back. So how does Philadelphia come up with a stop? What do they say at halftime? What do you do? Because so far they haven't come up with many answers.
Well, there are no answers, I don't think. If you look at what the Saints were able to do on the offensive side of the ball, over 300 yards of offense. They're running the ball, they're throwing it, they're spreading it around. Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas really haven't been that involved in the passing game, and yet Breeze is still carving them up, and they've been unable to sack him. So, you know, what they've been doing, the Eagles, that is, defensively, obviously, has not had much of an impact, and I would just, if nothing else, maybe expect Jim Schwartz to just sell out and start trying to bring as many people as he can, because sitting back or challenging receivers certainly has not been the answer.
Elliott kicks it away and out of the back of the end zone. Breeze will start at the 25 and we'll send it down to Aaron Andrews.
I asked Doug Peterson, what do you say when you head into the locker room? And he said, first of all, for our defense, we just need to find a way to hold up. Yes, we're injured. We were injured coming into this game, but you got to make a stop. For his offense, he said they're not handling the pressure well at all. And then they've really been one-dimensional since scoring that lone touchdown. And finally, he said, we just have to find a way for this offense to stay on the field, give our defense a bit of a break.
There was a flag that was down on the far sideline, and it was for an offside. And so the Saints will just tack that on at the end of the play. The ball will come up to the 30, and that's where Drew Brees, the 11-time Pro Bowler, the Super Bowl 44 MVP, the guy who's #1 in NFL history in passing yards, completion percentage. He's got the #1 quarterback rating in 2018. He's playing his best football at 39. And he's #2 on the all-time touchdown list with 511.
5-3. Ready. We're waiting. What's that?
Handoff is to Ingram, and he just does not go down easily. A gain of 6 on the first play from scrimmage in the second half.
Well, here's a look at Fletcher Cox and him working and trying to make a play, but not until after Mark Ingram had gotten pretty good yards there with a 6-yard carry on first down. And you know, Drew Brees is playing the position, Joe. It really is as well or better than anyone we've ever seen play it. I mean, you start putting his numbers up against some of the great years put forth by quarterbacks, he's at the top of the list. It's been awfully fun to watch, and at 39 years old, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning both showed you can win a Super Bowl at 39.
Here's Thomas, over 1,000 yards on the season. He tacks on 8 more and has a first down as Rasul Douglas is in on the stop.
I think the other part of this too is the job that Sean Payton has done. I mean, he has got this offense really dialed in, and really, as we've talked about when we've had the Saints in the past, you come in and Jim Schwartz, it's not lost on him, over 50% of the completions have gone to 2 guys. You try to shut down Alvin Kamara, you try to limit Michael Thomas, and they've done that for the most part, but everyone else has beat them.
Brees steps into it, fires, pass is caught. Tre'Quan Smith. Well, he has shown that he can make the tough catch, hang on in traffic, good for 18.
Well, he finishes his catch, as you're going to see as he works back to the ball. I mean, right there, because, you know, he had a chance. Chandon Sullivan was in pretty good position there, but Tre'Quan Smith works back to the football, and for a young player, you don't see that a lot. That's as much coaching here in New Orleans as it is from where he came from at Central Florida.
Part of a 13-0 team a year ago, had over 1,100 receiving yards, 13 receiving touchdowns. And they got a good one in the 3rd round in Tre'Quan Smith as Kamara carries it forward for 3. So they've got Thomas. They've got Smith. They've added Kirkwood. They brought him to the active roster a week ago. Austin Carr has a touchdown in this game, and Brandon Marshall has been signed and is on his way to this offense, the 6-time Pro Bowl.
There's a look at Brandon Marshall. I don't know how they're keeping all these guys happy now. They're going to add Brandon Marshall to the mix here soon.
Taysom Hill and a quarterback completes. That's Hill on the outside. Hill to Hill. First down. Nigel Bradham on the tackle. I feel like sometimes Sean Payton's just trying to keep himself interested.
Well, I think he is in a lot of ways. And I think Sean Payton's probably having about as much fun as he's ever had coaching. And he mentioned to me the other day that they were in a short yardage goal line meeting, and it said it's the longest short yardage goal line meeting that he had ever been a part of because of the abilities of Taysom Hill. They get up there on the try board and they just start drawing things up and seeing what sticks. And we haven't seen half of what he's got in mind.
What doesn't stick? On first down, little shoulder fake. Thomas, what a throw! Surgical precision. And Michael Thomas has his 8th. Dropped in beautifully by Drew Brees.
And they even are giving safety help to Rasul Douglas. And yet there is that hole. Even it's a 2-man type look. You're going to see the safety here. He's cheating. He's trying to give a little bit of help and take that throw away. Just a great release. He beats Rasul Douglas coming off a really tough ball game Sunday night. He gets beat right away and makes for an easy touchdown to Thomas.
Lutz knocks it through. And the point onslaught continues. Doesn't matter the opponent. The Saints just take them apart. 31-7 early second half. It was Joe Horn back in 2003 that pulled out the cell phone, and as a way of honoring Joe Horn, a couple of weeks ago we saw Michael Thomas pull out a previously stashed cell phone from under the padding at the goalpost, pulled it out. A touchdown against the LA Rams. Got fined a hefty amount. That was his nod to Joe Horn and history for the Saints. You got anything you want to say over there?
I thought it was a great celebration.
Yeah, I know you did. He was smiling about it more than you.
Go back and take a look at that touchdown and the release, and this is about as easy as it gets for Michael Thomas. It's not even really much of a move. He just flat runs right by Rasul Douglas, and even with Rasul Douglas knowing that he has safety help over the top, is unable to get any hands on him at all. And pretty good execution there by New Orleans once again. And for Michael Thomas, we talked about it, that was just his 4th catch of the game, but he's approaching 100 yards, so all 4 of them have been pretty impactful receptions.
On first down, the pass is behind but caught by Alshon Jeffrey for a first down. See if the offense can get anything rolling. Nothing else, hang on to the ball for a while. They're number 2 in time of possession. They'd love to give their defense a chance to catch a break over on the sideline.
Well, the guy they've had a hard time incorporating today is Zach Ertz.
Only has 1 catch. Bad snap from Wisniewski, who has 62 starts at center. Stefan Wisniewski, who's in for the injured Jason Kelsey. Eagles lost him early. Was during Wisniewski's time with the Raiders in Jacksonville. We have been handed a note that Kelsey, with that, I guess, elbow injury, has gone from out to questionable, so could come back. The game continues like this. Unlikely. 2nd and 10. Ertz out to Matthews. Wentz, and Wentz with the completion. As we go to Ertz, after that 5-yard throw to Jordan Matthews. I mean, the pace and the rate with which Zach Ertz is catching footballs this year is unheard of for a tight end, but he's been shut down
Oh, they're definitely drawing coverage towards him, but not anything that Zach Ertz hasn't seen before. Everybody coming in and facing the Eagles knows that he's a targeted guy and he's the one you've got to try to control in the passing game. The Saints, however, have been one of the few teams to do a good job against him.
Now the Eagles have to use a timeout. You can see the confusion in the huddle. Looking to the sideline, and an early timeout taken by Carson Wentz before a third down play. Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm. Inside, it gets loud for a 3rd and 5. Wentz pulls it down, now floats it for the rookie, and Goddard cannot make the catch. Well covered by Von Bell. It's 4th down, and we'll see what Doug Peterson wants to do on 4th and 5. For now, keeping his offense out there.
Well, they got exactly what they wanted on the outside. Goddard actually has a step on. He's got a step on Von Bell, Joe, and it's an underthrown ball, and I agree with this. I mean, the score right now, 31-7, and a defense that really has not shown an ability to stop the Saints. I think they're in 4-down territory the rest of this game.
Wentz able to corral the snap and throws high and incomplete for Zach Ertz. Now the Eagles turn it over on downs. Nothing wrong with the snap. And the incompletion gives it to the Saints. Up 24. The Eagles went for it on 4th down. The incompletion makes Philadelphia 7 for 13 going for it on 4th down. You see the offensive leaders for the Saints. They made good on their first possession of this second half. The touchdown to Michael Thomas.
Ready.
They take over at the Philly 41. And to Kamara. Kamara spins and rides a couple of bodies to an 8-yard gain. Bennett on the tackle, 2nd and 2.
This offensive line for New Orleans, that, of course, is where it begins in order to give Brees the kind of time that he has had this year, and then, of course, the running lanes for these 2 running backs. And when you look at the Saints and who they have faced here over the last month, Baltimore, Minnesota, the Rams, Cincinnati on Sunday, and now the Philadelphia Eagles, those are 5 good defensive fronts that are capable of putting pressure on the quarterback. They've given up 1 sack in the last 4.5 games, none in the last 3 weeks, and that's continuing here this afternoon. They've been awfully good.
Here's Ingram for a first down. The Saints are averaging just under 7.5 yards a rush in this game. Here's Kurt with a game break.
Well, the Broncos and Chargers are teams heading in the opposite direction, but this will help a little bit. Von Miller, 2nd pick of the day off Phillip Rivers. First time he's thrown 2 interceptions all season long. 3 plays later, Royce Freeman turns it into a touchdown. Chargers still have the lead early in the 4th quarter, trying to win their 7th straight game. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Kurt, thanks. Drew Brees checks out. Taysom Hill comes in. The Saints are now over 400 yards of offense. And Hill splits out wide to the bottom of the screen. Direct snap to Kamara. And Kamara takes it to the 24. Just showing all they can do and putting stuff on tape for other defensive coordinators to have to worry about going down the stretch.
Yeah, that's a lot, too. I mean, the more you get on film and give these coordinators something that they have to worry about, the less amount of time that they have to prepare for the other things that you do. And so there's a lot of volume. You're going to turn around and play on a short week against the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday night. You can bet Dan Quinn's going to be not getting much sleep here over the next 3 days.
They're coming off a tough home loss to Dallas. Here's a pass that is caught. Tre'Quan Smith again. with Chandon Sullivan in coverage. Another strong catch by the rookie.
Yeah, Traquan Smith is having a day. He came into this game with only 12 receptions, and that is what, his 8th of the game today, and over 100 yards receiving. And he's done some really nice things on some contested throws. He's come back and made plays on the ball.
That one good for 21. Now Ingram got hit hard at the 2. Corey Graham in there to make the stop. A gain of just 1 second and goal.
You think back to Sunday's game, and Sean Payton was talking about it, that you have this big lead against the Bengals, and they say, hey, put the backups in. Well, this isn't college. You only have, 48 players and 45 players, and that you are not able to just substitute and put all these new backup players onto the field. And there's going to be everybody once again this week getting some playing time, however.
Hand off to the fullback, and Zach Line gets nothing. Lost about a yard. You saw that late defensive substitution up front. Trayvon Hester was in there for Jim Schwartz. Schwartz telling us that the beauty of Sean Payton is, and he hadn't faced a Sean Payton offense in over 5 years. He said he's just evolved over time. He was great then, but he's different, and he's showing different things, and that's the mark of a good coach.
It is. He's a little irritated about something on the sidelines right now.
Third down and goal. Breeze. Pass is incomplete. Kamara, a flag down in the back of the end zone. Brandon Graham was bearing down on Breeze, and the Saints indicate it's against Philadelphia. So instead of a stop on third down and goal, Saints may get a fresh first down.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 41, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic. First down.
That is Devontae Bosby, who was just added to the active roster up off the practice squad. And he just grabbed a hold of Michael Thomas.
A young player and getting thrown out there. And
on first and goal. Touchdown, Mark Ingram, his second.
You give this offense a new set of downs down here, you're not going to keep them out of the end zone. It's pretty tough sledding for this Eagles defense.
Saints have 3 straight touchdown drives and touchdowns in 5 of their last 6 possessions.
Came into this game, Joe, we were hoping that the Eagles would be able to make some plays like we talked about. You try to steal some possessions, maybe you can create some takeaways, something that they really have not done a very good job of this year. Kind of once this thing started rolling, there's no slowing it down.
Larry Warford was banged up on that touchdown run. Slow to get to the sideline. As Will Lutz knocks it through, and it's a 31-point game in New Orleans. More fun for the Saints, this time in Week 11. Well, as we welcome you back to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, the Saints are about to kick off again. They came in #1 in the league at 36.7 points per game. He just set a franchise record for a 2-game span, scoring 96 the previous 2. And I'd say they're pretty much able to do what they want, when they want, and have fun on the sideline. Clement on the return to the 20 and keeps fighting out near the 24. Chris Banjo on the stop. Give you some early game headlines. This might spark some conversation. Who knows? It's week 11 and the Cowboys and Zeke Elliott get out a win on the road at Atlanta. The Lions take care of Carolina. The Panthers are 1-4 on the road. The terrible injury suffered by Alex Smith. Washington loses their game to the Houston Texans. And with that loss, the Redskins are now 6-4, leading Dallas by a game, and they match up on Thanksgiving here on Fox. One of the 6 wins for the Redskins came at the expense of the Dallas Cowboys in Landover. This is a 6-yard carry by Josh Adams.
Well, that'll be a huge game on Thursday afternoon between those two teams and in the race within the NFC East. You know, the Redskins talked about what it might mean to Dallas winning the game and then being able to split the head-to-head series and then tie them with the record, and then it's anybody's guess going the rest of the way. But the Redskins have a chance to build a pretty good lead with 5 to play if they're able to go in and win a game.
2nd down and 4. Pass is caught by Adams and well played up front. That was Demario Davis. Has been a nice addition from the Jets. The team's leading tackler and a loss of 1 on the play.
Yeah, he has. He was a tackling machine with the Jets, and that has continued here in New Orleans. And you know, we showed Mark Ingram dancing. They're having a lot of fun, as you can imagine. It's hard to win games in the NFL, and it's especially hard to win the way that they've been winning here in recent weeks. A Saints offense that has been held under 30 points just twice all year long.
Third down and 5. Pass is caught by Zach Ertz for the first down. And a nice catch, good throw from Wentz to Ertz.
Yeah, that was a really good throw. Von Bell was the one in coverage, and you know, I don't think when you look at this defense, of course, the first 2 weeks against Tampa Bay and Cleveland, they gave up a lot of yardage, and that's hard to overcome. But when you have an offense that's moving the ball and putting points up the way that the Saints are, your defense is going to give up a lot of yardage. I don't think their effectiveness shows necessarily in the stats.
Here's a little toss to Golden Tate. That didn't work. Play made by Cam Jordan.
What a great job by Cam Jordan. This guy's a great pass rusher, as we know, but here's where the discipline comes. You see his eyes in the backfield. He doesn't go chasing the ball. He stays home, and it's not easy to do. Golden Tate is a pretty elusive guy in the open field. That's as good a play as we've seen all day.
3-time Pro Bowler. Coming off a career-high 13 sacks, made that play. A loss of 8. Wentz throws, has a man. That's Tate. And Tate out of bounds with a nice chunk of yardage to make 3rd down a little more accessible, a gain of 12.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Golden Tate and them making the trade with the Detroit Lions and essentially just renting him as his contract is up after this season, and doing what they felt that they needed to do to give themselves a chance to make another run at this thing. But you know, obviously it's been a bit of a disappointment going back to Sunday night's game and then again here tonight. But what ultimately, or where Golden Tate ultimately lands next year.
His 14 of 32 snaps he's been in there for. Passes to Tate, broken up. And the play is made by P.J. Williams. It's 4th down, and out comes the punt team for Doug Peterson.
P.J. Williams, like I said earlier, it's been an inconsistent year for him. He's done a nice job, though, in this game. He was on Zach Ertz and has been a fair amount, and then comes up and is able to make a play there.
Johnston the punt. End over end. Kamara foot just does not come off the gas pedal for Sean Payton as he sends Alvin Kamara back to return the punt. Cameron Johnston, the punter, made this tackle. And a return of 15 yards. Saturday, buckle up for the great rivalry. Number 4 Michigan, number 10 Ohio State battle for a spot in the Big Ten Championship. Coverage begins Saturday at 11 Eastern on Fox, or watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app.
We're going to get Alvin Kamara for an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. He tosses the ball at the end of this play. He tried to do it nonchalantly. Not sure if he tossed it.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 41 of the receiving team for taunting. That's his first foul in this regard with regard to ejection.
See a ball come flying in here in a minute. There it is right there. He tossed it at Alexander, and there's the official. He throws the flag.
Pretty good tackle by Cameron Johnston.
Yeah, it was. That was a takedown.
Picked him up, threw him to the ground, and
put him on defense.
First down for the Saints.
See if he can cover.
There's a great story that Zach Berman, a terrific writer in Philadelphia, wrote about Drew Brees. Try to get into it. Typically, you start going into a Drew Brees story or a Sean Payton story, and there's some huge play, and you forget about it. Ball back at the 13-yard line.
Ready. We're ready. What's that?
Michael Ola has taken over at guard. As the handoff is to Ingram, a loss of 1. In that piece, Zach wrote about the conversation he had with Justin Peele, who was Drew Brees' former tight end. And they were both very young in San Diego. And obviously Justin does a great job with these tight ends. There you see him. He's on the Eagles staff. And he said that Justin Peele, was hurt. Drew was making him go through routes in the end zone. At one point, he watched Drew Brees close his eyes, drop back, and fire a strike to him in the end zone. Here's a toss to Kamara. Out of bounds, 3rd and short coming up. And he finished off the piece, at least with regard to the tweet, by saying, looking back then, it's just one small example. I used to work out with him in the offseason, and he'd run me into the ground. You knew he had that in him. And when you watch the Saints practice, it is like a great symphony or a great ballet. Everybody working together, the ball zipping around. It's a thing of beauty to watch, and it's no surprise that this guy carries it over to Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, whatever.
Yeah, I got into broadcasting in 01 and never had a game of his when he was with the Chargers, and it wasn't until 2006, my first opportunity to watch him practice. And Joe, he's as methodical today as he was in 2006. It really is. I mean, young players, young athletes, if they could ever be given the opportunity, and what an opportunity that would be, to be able to watch how Drew Brees trains and prepares during the week and then also in pregame. He does the same routine each and every Sunday. And like I said last time we talked about Drew, when we had them against the Rams, there are no shortcuts. And you don't make it as long as he's made it in this league, doing it for as long as he has at now 19 seasons, by taking shortcuts. And he's an example for a lot of people.
Now Andrus Peat has come out up front for Sean Payton on the offensive line, and Cameron Tom has taken over at left guard. 3rd down and 2. Why not go for a big shot? Smith! What a day! Traquan Smith is having a field day. Working on Rasul Douglas, and it's been 10 all day. "38 yards to end the 3rd quarter. Back after this from your local Fox station. It is fun to watch unless you're wearing green. Late great Reggie White. I don't know exactly what they listed him as with regard to his weight, how much he weighed. I feel like you know how much he weighed.
Well, I don't know how much he weighed, but I got a pretty good idea as to how fast he is, because he used to outrun me, and that's a scary proposition when you get into the NFL and guys his size, 290 pounds or whatever he was, and they're running faster than the quarterback.
He won his Super Bowl with the Packers in this stadium, Reggie White. Rasul Douglas was injured trying to actually step over Traquan Smith after the completion that ended the third quarter, and he hyperextended his knee, and it didn't look good. Ingram over the right side, back to the injury, and add another defensive back, and here it is at the very end, right there.
Looks like he hyperextended it right there. Not good. Imagine they're going to be bringing in a lot of defensive backs this week and working them out.
Sidney Jones was out earlier, came back in. Now he's back out. You saw him on the sideline. They lost Avonte Maddox. Now it looks like Rasul Douglas. They were already thin. Here's Kamara. Good play. That's Bosby, who got the stiff arm, and Avonte just worked right through it. A loss of one. That was a good play.
Really good play. Yep, he's got his opportunity, and now he's going to try to make the most of his time out here on the field.
Taysom Hill was in the huddle, now leaves the huddle.
I think now that, Sean, he's still coaching him up over there. He's been a little frustrated, a little agitated here in this second half on some of the mechanics and what's happening.
No, Mike Bucket.
Another timeout taken by the Saints. They took one right at the end of the third quarter, and now they take one here before a 3rd and 7. What a combination it's been since 2006. They went to the NFC Championship game that year, went to and won the Super Bowl in 2009. And the combination currently 3rd behind Don Shula, Dan Marino, and then that incredible combination that we will see in not too long with a late afternoon game on a Sunday. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady as they take on the Vikings on December 2nd.
I'll tell you what, if you're a quarterback and you get the good fortune of having the chance to work with a guy like Sean Payton, and there's others around the league, Goff working with Sean McVay, what a great thing that is. And there's a lot of quarterbacks who have come through this league who haven't been given that opportunity. When you think about it, Sean Payton was offered the Raiders job a year or two before he took the job here in New Orleans and turned it down.
Here's Breeze making the play, and the pass is dropped by Keith Kirkwood. He made some noise in the first half.
And then, of course, you think back to when Nick Saban was the head coach with the Miami Dolphins, and he wanted Drew Brees, and yet he didn't pass the physical there in Miami, and so he didn't get signed with the Dolphins. He comes here to New Orleans. Sean Payton then gets offered this job. He takes it, and the rest is history.
Well, the offense stays out there on a 4th down and 7. Play clock at 2. Saints go for it. Kamara down the sideline. What a throw! Another touchdown. And just pouring it on. A 38-yard touchdown throw to Alvin Kamara.
Well, Malcolm Jenkins was in coverage, and as soon as they broke the huddle and Malcolm Jenkins was on Kamara, Brees knew exactly where he was going with the football one-on-one, and he could have ran it down there and handed it to him, and it wouldn't have been any better than that right there.
It's the 6th time the Saints have gone 40 or more points on the scoreboard in their 3rd game in a row. And a flag is thrown on the extra point that was knocked through by Lutz.
Holding. Number 89. Offense. 10-yard penalty.
And no end to the announcement as to what will happen with that extra point. Look at this throw by Drew Brees.
It's just pure money. That is as good as it gets, and it's going to shatter the completion percentage record again this year.
Here's the penalty. Watch Hill, Josh Hill, as he got his arm up around the neck of Chandon Sullivan. And there's a little bit of confusion as to what the next play is going to be.
Yeah, they're all huddled up out there now trying to sort it out themselves.
And then they have to retry the point, and that's what's going to happen. You know, you think about it.
Sean's asking, why was that so difficult?
You think about it, the curtain was kind of coming down on this whole show a couple of years ago. 3 straight 7-9 seasons. Questions about the future of Sean Payton, about how much longer Drew Brees was going to be here with a contract winding down, and he was approaching 38 years old. They go 11-5 last year. They come within one solid tackle of going to the NFC Championship game, and now Drew Brees is at the front of the MVP of the league conversation, and this team is on their way to their 9th straight win. So they retry the point. It still works. And on America's Game of the Week, the frustration is piling up on the visitors' sideline. America's Game of the Week, and Drew Brees doing his thing week after week after week. And you see the 141 points put up over the last 3 games, the most in a 3-game span in team history that goes back to '67 as this kickoff is into the back of the end zone, out to the 25. NFL football Thanksgiving feast will be served up on Fox in a big game in the NFC East. Bitter rivals, Adrian Peterson and the division-leading Washington Redskins are in Arlington to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott. And it all starts at 4 Eastern on Fox, and the Redskins will be led by Colt McCoy, former University of Texas quarterback who led him to a national title game. Lost that game, but will get the chance to go on Thursday with the terrible injury to Alex Smith earlier today at the hands of the Texans as Tate makes the catch in game 6.
And I expect Colt McCoy to come out and play well. He's a veteran guy. He's won games in this league, and the Redskins are fortunate to have him. He's had opportunities at various times to leave and go elsewhere, but I think they value him greatly. There's a lot of backups in this league that don't have near the experience of Colt McCoy, and that's why they're paying him. I expect him to play well. He's won in Dallas before.
Wentz pulls it down a few times and then misses Josh Adams out to his right. So the return, just to give you the injury news, on Rasul Douglas is questionable. That didn't look good. And the injuries have even hit Rick Lovato, their long snapper. He was hit in the head, being evaluated for a concussion. And with that, Doug Peterson's down to Nathan Gary, who would fill in at that spot. The Eagles have been outgained by 369 yards in this game. And that throw pulls Alshon Jeffrey a yard short of the first down. And there's frustration everywhere for this Philly team. It's 4th and 1.
And it kind of started last week. Like I said, that was a very pivotal game that they lost on Sunday night. And a lot of frustration coming out of that one. And of course, you knew they had their hands full coming in here to New Orleans. And a road game, and it's going to be a challenge for Doug Peterson. And 4-6, having lost the last two, how do you right the ship, and how do you get people to believe this is a demoralizing, devastating loss?
And all the injuries. Pass is broken up. And the Eagles turn it over on downs again. Jeffrey the target with Lattimore defending. In all phases of the game, working for the Saints. Not so much for Philadelphia. Good play by Lattimore. The second-year pro. Saints get it back. Up 38. It's America's Game of the Week, and it's Drew Brees right back to work. After the touchdown throw to Alvin Kamara, 45 points put up. 21 of 29. Should pull his season completion percentage down. As Malcolm Jenkins, he's still playing, brings down Mark Ingram. No gain. The all-time points per game record belongs to the 1950 Rams at 38.8, including what's happened here so far in this game. The Saints, they're closing in on the 2013 Denver Broncos, sitting there at 37.5 for the season. They have a 2nd and 10 here.
Maybe that explains why Drew Brees is still in the game. They're going to go after that record. I thought maybe we'd see a little Teddy Bridgewater at this stage.
Pass is caught. Traquan Smith adds to his career day as he has a first down inside the 25. That team was coached by Hall of Famer Joe Stidehar, who went in as a player. And the 1950 Rams alternated their quarterbacks by quarter. The Hall of Famers Norm Van Brocklin and Bob Waterfield. Would you have enjoyed something like that with Steve Walsh or Jason Garrett?
Well, if we were scoring points like that, I probably would have.
Here's Hill in a quarterback, Taysom Hill. Drew Brees at the top of the picture. Hill keeps as he typically does, and now is able to turn it into a 1-yard gain after breaking a tackle and shoving away Michael Bennett.
This guy, I just marvel at how tough this guy is as a quarterback, and he just, I watch him blocked, I see him run with the football, and he's an old school player in his style. I talked to Sean Payton about him as far as a thrower. We saw him obviously attempt a pass today that a little off the mark. But he said absolutely he can throw the football extremely well, and feels that he definitely has the ability to play full time at that position in this league.
Here's a toss to Ingram. Still going. We'll see where they mark him. Out of bounds at the 5. Forced out by Busby. Here's a game break, and here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, it's not exactly Saints-like, but the Raiders have their second win of the season on a last-second field goal by Daniel Carlson, 35 yards. They knock off Arizona 23-21. You think they're happy?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. It was a huge smile on the face of John Gruden, whose Oakland Raiders just moved to 2-8.
Hey, anytime you win a game, it doesn't matter what the record is, it feels good.
All right, here's Ingram. Well, every time we look down, Malcolm Jenkins is right in the middle of it for Philadelphia.
Yeah, he will continue to do that as well. And one of the real pros in our league. You know, to go back to John Gruden, I know for both those teams it's been really frustrating as we've got a player down.
That's Hicks. Well, that's the last thing they need, is to lose their middle linebacker. They'll check on him. We'll take a break and give you the news when we come back. At the end of this game, the Eagles aren't going to be happy with, obviously, what happened here today in New Orleans. But going forward, say it for, I feel, the 5th time in the game, they are alive in this division. They got to figure something out. They've got home games coming up with the Giants and Washington. Ingram. But the injuries are piling up. That play is made by Bradham. They just lost Jordan Hicks. You saw him go into that blue tent. They've lost Sidney Jones, Avonte Maddox, Rasul Douglas, Jason Kelsey, and word from Aaron Andrews on the sideline, possibly Rick Lovato, their kick and punt center. I mean, that still have to play this thing out, and they are really leaving here hurt. Third down and goal. Ingram. Good play. Graham is the one who got there first. That'll bring up fourth down, and Saints just went for it on fourth down a moment ago, and they'll go for it on fourth and goal here. Last time was a touchdown throw to Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, you sit there and you say, well, do you want to put more points on the board, or you just run the ball and see whether or not they make a stop? But like you said, on fourth down, they threw it last time.
I think if you read the lips of Sean Payton, at least his thinking at the moment is call a timeout and kick a field goal. I mean, you're caught. Like, what do you want to do? It looks terrible if you keep piling up points. We'll see what they do when we come back. Right now, it's Kurt with a game break.
Well, Denver's Brandon McManus had one field goal all day, but boy, did he make it count. As the clock ran out, the Broncos hand the Chargers their first loss in 7 weeks, 23-22. And another barn burner, as they like to say, Joe and Troy.
Yeah, so an exciting finish there, and down to 7-3 go the Chargers. The Chiefs at 9-1 have their game coming up in LA tomorrow night. Denver to 4-6. Oakland wins. They're 2-8. And there is Will Lutz, who is 1 for 1 in this game and who has hit on 18 straight. 19-yard try. And his first in this range all season. More points. And it's 48-7, so a 41-point game here in New Orleans. And we'll take it from the Philadelphia side as we welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck with Troy Aikman, and trying to make sense of what happened here today. It was a depleted team injury-wise coming in. They're even worse off going out. But Philadelphia, it's not over for the Eagles within their division this year.
No, you're right. But that's a hard sell. I will tell you, I've been on teams that have come off devastating losses, and the coach gets up and talks about, hey, we're still alive in this thing. Believing that as a player is sometimes challenging. And like I said, that's going to be the challenge that Doug Peterson and this staff has. Now they will come back off of this, and they'll play at home against the Giants, a team that won today, but they've had some issues of their own. So maybe they can, regain something if they're able to win a football game. But it's hard when things start heading south and you get demoralized in a game like this to bounce back from. And like you said, Joe, they've got to get some bodies, and they've got to get guys up to speed on what they're doing. And there's a lot of things working against the Eagles right now.
I'm just more interested to know who the head coach was that you guys didn't believe. Wasn't Jimmy.
Let's talk about something else.
All right.
No, it was not. It was not Jimmy.
Okay. All right. Good. There's the NFC East, but Washington lost their quarterback. They have a Thanksgiving game in Dallas. Dallas has won 2 in a row. The Giants have won 2 in a row. And while Philadelphia with divisional games coming up back-to-back for their final 7 coming into today against the NFC East. From the 25, handoff is to Adams. He's out to the 31, maybe the 32.
It is interesting, Joe, how quickly things turn. I keep going back to Sunday night's game because that was such a pivotal game for both the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they had their backs against the wall. The Eagles could have, in a lot of ways knocked them out, and then they would have been sitting really good within the division. They failed to win, and then losing here looks entirely different.
Flat-footed throw incomplete for Adams. Meanwhile, for the Saints, here's what they have. With Carolina losing earlier today at the hands of Detroit, the division is sitting there within their grasp. But then you start thinking about home field advantage. They come in with one fewer win than the Rams, but they beat the Rams head-to-head here 2 games ago. So it's all out in front of Sean Payton's team, and they are on an incredible roll. 3rd down and 3. Pass is bobbled but caught by Alshon Jeffrey for a rare 1st down.
Well, now if you're Philadelphia, you're just trying to, obviously they're not in any big hurry or anything like that. Just trying to execute. Lock them up front, drop back. Should have some opportunities, although the Saints and Dennis Allen, they're still playing tough coverage. They're not playing soft at all.
Wentz, Aguilar, he's been shut down in this game. I'm told we have a NASCAR game break. Here's Kurt again.
Well, Joey Logano didn't even make the playoffs last season. This year, he's your Cup champion. Not only winning the race today, but taking the series title. And just a reminder, February 17th, we've got the Daytona 500 coming your way right here on Fox. This is officially called blowout material, Joe.
Keep them coming. 2nd down and 10.
Well, I know our crew's looking forward to the Daytona 500. Always a big part of the year for them.
Wentz out to his right. Throws. Underthrown and picked. Intercepted by Chris Banjo. Tate was the target. And again, that was well underthrown. The interception, the first for Banjo.
These celebrations have gotten out of hand. We got like 21 guys running out there. Well, they're just trying to make something happen and punch holes in a lot of things, but I don't take fault or issue with Carson Wentz trying to do something, but it's been about as fun as it can get for the New Orleans Saints here over the last 2 weekends.
2 turnovers picked up by the Saints defense as Teddy Bridgewater is taken over at quarterback. And Dwayne Washington gets the handoff. No gain. Aaron?
You guys were talking earlier about Drew Brees and his routines, and Troy, I think you even said if you're a young player, you should want to sit back and watch. Well, Teddy Bridgewater has done that. He's out there right now. He says it's been amazing to learn under Brees. Just watching his routines each and every day, the steps you need to take to prepare. He said you forget about what he's doing out on the field because he's consistently making it work, making it happen every single time. But Teddy said it's definitely shaped and changed the way he goes about his every day as well.
Well, the 33rd time for Drew Brees that he's had 4 touchdown passes in a game, and it just keeps carrying over to when it counts. Here's Washington. Back-to-back carries. He loses a yard here. Here is a comparison of the 2 quarterbacks, and there really isn't a comparison for what's happened here today. The quarterback rating, 22 of 30 for Drew Brees. And there have been some missed throws and missed open receivers within the numbers for Carson Wentz, who was one of just 7 quarterbacks coming in, averaging over 300 pass yards a game. And 127 in this one. Hand off to Washington, and that drive went backward.
I would think that Sean Payton would like to let Teddy Bridgewater throw the ball a little bit. It's hard to do when you've got a 41-point lead like they have, but as we know, Bridgewater, who had that devastating knee injury when his career really looked like it was taking off in Minnesota, and he's been fighting his way back, and I know Sean Payton really likes him a lot and feels that he still has a real bright future, but you know, when might that happen is anybody's guess. At least here in New Orleans, as Drew Brees doesn't look like he's going anywhere, at least real soon.
He's had a lot of time on his hands lately. Punts it. Golden Tate gets thrown down by Justin Hardy. 49-yard punt. We'll recap it for you, and you'll see a lot of this. Austin Carr gets his first. Wentz downfield, picked by Lattimore. Frustration for Carson Wentz. Ingram untouched to the end zone. The tough catch by Traquan Smith in what's been a career day. A touchdown from Michael Thomas. Touchdown later from Alvin Kamara on a 4th down play as he was hit in stride going down the sideline. Traquan Smith, 10 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. Here's Clement. And Clement gets hit hard and dropped by Craig Robertson.
You know, I think that's probably the best part of this for the New Orleans Saints to come out of this game, Joe, was the day by Traquan Smith. And as we talked about it, it had been heavy with Michael Thomas, and then, of course, Alvin Kamara. Ted Ginn Jr. goes down, and Traquan Smith gets his opportunity here in recent weeks. And, you know, a day like this is a day that a young receiver can really grow leaps and bounds. And that bodes really well for the Saints. One, they spread the ball around to a lot of different people, but especially him in making some really key catches, some contested balls, and his confidence is only going to grow after an afternoon like this.
3rd down here for Philadelphia.
Probably more importantly, Drew Brees' confidence in him and just knowing that he's a guy he can count on to make the tough play.
Wentz throws, 1st down, Golden Tate into Saints territory, and that will take us inside of 2 minutes. They've had a lot of celebrations here for the Saints in this one. America's Game of the Week. It belongs to New Orleans. Another weekend, another pile of points put up by the New Orleans Saints, leading by 41. 1st down for the Eagles. On the New Orleans 48. Wentz fires a bullet to Matthews. Matthews down inside the 30.
There might be some people wondering about Carson Wentz in the lineup. I happen to agree with him still on the field playing. I think this offense, like you said, Joe, they're not out of it. And if they're going to be able to hang in there and do anything with the rest of this season, they've got to get this thing figured out. They got to learn how to start games, moving the football and coming away with points.
They lost their center in this one. As the passes for Alshon Jeffrey. Jason Kelce, the 2-time Pro Bowler, making his 67th start. Flag is thrown in the secondary.
Pass interference. Defense number 20. Automatic. 1st down.
That's against Ken Crawley. But the list for Doug Peterson starts with Kelce and then goes through the defensive backs that they've lost within this game after losing one last week and not having Jalen Mills again. There's the upcoming schedule at home against the Giants. They take on the Redskins. They host Washington after the Giant game. As Wentz is sacked, they end the year at Washington. A loss of 5 here on this sack. With a minute remaining in the game.
Well, that was a page out of Jimmy Johnson's book right there by Dennis Allen. I remember we would have a big lead like this, and he would continue to tell Dave Wanstead, the defensive coordinator, to blitz. And he said, hey, if they're going to try to score, then we're going to do everything we can to stop them. Of course, the quarterback is the one who receives the punishment.
I knew that was coming. 2nd and 15. The pass is low and caught, but a flag is down, and the indication it's against Philadelphia.
Pass interference. Number 19, offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
They get Tate for an offensive pass interference. The Saints have outgained the Eagles by 351 yards in this game. And that's the biggest yardage differential in an NFL game this season.
Well, they had 320 yards at halftime, and right now they're just under 550 yards. They could have very easily had well over 600 yards if they had wanted to. And there was a time, 400 yards still is a lot, but there was a time that was really a lot. With the Saints, 500 isn't out of the question most weeks.
Into the end zone and intercepted for the 3rd time, 2nd time by Chris Banjo. And what a way for this game, in essence, to end for Carson Wentz.
You have to come up with some new celebrations to keep it fresh. I'm not sure what was going on that throw, and Dallas Goedert was the intended receiver, and I'm not sure he ever even saw the ball. Dallas Goedert right here in the slot. He's going down the middle, and
Bridgewater will get it. Take a knee, and both teams say, let's get out of here. Tell you what, Malcolm Jenkins kept playing, and that caught the eye of Sean Payton, his former head coach, here with the Saints. Well, a lot of questions to be answered by Doug Peterson. A lot of holes to fill injury-wise. And that's the largest loss point-wise by defending Super Bowl champion. There have been 7 teams that have won the Super Bowl and finished the next season with an under 500 record. It's within the grasp of the Eagles to avoid becoming the 8th team to do so. But work to be done. The OT presented by Lowe's coming up.